West Tigers fans, welcome into another episode of the West Tigers Life podcast. Not sure there's too much to talk about West Tigers wise this week. Just kidding. This team is the team that keeps on giving, be it on and off the field. Join us in another episode, West Tigers Life. Let's do it. Welcome in, West Tigers fans, to another episode of West Tigers Life. I'm your host, Josh Barnett. Please give us a follow. Our campaign to get to 2005 on all our social pipes is going really strong. The YouTube's in the 1700s. The TikTok is going off. I can't believe I was always anti-TikTok. I didn't want to get on the TikTok, but man, it's between the abuse from Parramatta fans to the love from the West Tigers fans, there's been a lot of activity with our clips on there. So give us a follow if you're on the TikTok and Twitter at West Tigers Life on the TikTok, on the Twitter, and give us a like on Facebook as well. The socials are absolutely going off this week, both good and bad. Plenty. Some nice people, some not so nice people, some arguments on X apart from that, a lot of love from you West Tigers fans as a whole, despite the turmoil both on and off the field of the past week or so. So welcome in to another episode. Let's go straight to my co-host, Statsman. How are you this evening, Aaron Thompson?
Yeah, g'day Josh, g'day Rob, g'day everyone watching and listening. I'm honestly feeling a little bit flat tonight, guys. Obviously the result over the weekend was a tough one to take. Still here, 48, little over 48 hours later, not feeling all that crash
It'll be
about.
48 hours. It feels like a week.
Well, considering how much drama has happened in the last 9-10 days, it feels like it's been about a month since everything kicked off. But just been trying to decompress a little bit after the loss and kind of just restock and resupply and get ready for Leichhardt this weekend. Favorite place to go. And
the man who brought himself to do the coach's report with Adele Haj on Sunday night. If you haven't seen it yet, many of you have. And a very raw episode with Adele, Mr. Bashara the other night. Only 2 hours, I think, after full time, you went live with Adele, and emotions were high. Even Adele, we hadn't seen Adele. He's very composed, and there are a few very what's the right word? Very passionate opinions from Adele beyond the X's and O's. It was even I was kind of sitting there listening, going, "Whoa, okay, Adele." That's wasn't expecting that. But how are you feeling? What did you say it was? As 48 hours since Easter Monday.
Surprisingly, g'day boys. Surprisingly, I'm really good tonight. As for Adele being what you say, a little bit emotional, he hates Para. I think anyone that's listened to our reviews, Para's his most hated team. And he was brilliant on Sunday night as always. As for my performance, all I'm going to say is whatever I am, and I'm a lot of different things, when it comes to West Tigers, I'm a fan first and I'm a podcaster last. Okay, so you get me being me. I get, there are some younger people that listen to the show, and I was a little bit heated, very much heated. And I stand by everything I said without the F words, okay? I thought the ref was a disgrace. That ripped apart any chance we had of winning to a degree, although we did fight back into the game. It just, given where we were 10 days ago, beating the Knights, and on such a high and feeling like we can really go 6-3 here, to where we are now and feeling like there's this black cloud lingering over our heads and don't even know, we're all speculating. I heard Richo tonight on the Buy podcast with James Graham, which was very therapeutic. We'll talk about that. I'm sure he's just such a good administrator, such a good talker. So that definitely helped me a lot. But you can't help but feel that this isn't going to go away anytime soon. And obviously the media love all this speculation and the story around it. And like I said last week, I've never seen so many podcasts and reports and tweets. And by the way, I'm back on Twitter. So if anyone wants to give me a follow on Twitter at Bashara Rob, you'll get plenty of content there. But someone had told me the week before that Calvin was trending number 2 in Australia on Twitter. So that's how popular.
What's number 1?
Did he get to number 1?
Did he beat the Pope?
Well, I don't know. I think Parramatta think he's.
What's more tragic, Galvin going the Eels or the Pope dying? I know what side I'm on, but
I could get something else trending. I reckon Para need Jesus Christ to get the premiership. That's
there is a Para Jesus, isn't there? Isn't there a Para Jesus?
I'm not sure. But,
he's no longer used to be. Is he no longer with us?
Anyway, but didn't get much sleep Sunday night. Just devastated. More for the fact that it felt like season ending. It just felt like a lot of hope was diminished. And right now, I've just got my guard up. So what I mean by that is, I've just, for my defense mechanisms, I just need to feel like we've got no hope now. And if I can feel like we've got no hope, I can talk normally, be controlled, not get upset if we lose to Cronulla, not get upset if we lose to St. George. I'm just going to try and just get back to reality. But, this year was the first season. I've been quite negative of the club, as you all know, prior management, not this management. And this was the first year in 6 years that I felt like we had a genuine chance of finals, and it felt like it was taken away the last week or so. And prior to that, the last chance I felt we could have made finals was 2012, when our season kind of ended a couple of weeks short of finals, and that was the year after we had made finals. So really, no, it's no excuse. But as a fan, we've had two sort of decent seasons in 14, and I feel like this 14th one it's really on life support now, guys. There's lots we got to talk about. Latu Fainu not being around, centre position being vacant, not much backup depth in the middles. We didn't even have a middle on the bench to replace Royce Hunt, and didn't even run an interchange. We'll talk about that. But there's just so much to talk about tonight. But obviously, I'll let you run the show and talk about who you want to talk about in what order. But I feel all right tonight. It's good having the boys here, supporting us. And it's just nice to get out.
And we're going to give away. The OG's given us 2 tickets to the game on Sunday to give away as well. I'm going to do a
beautiful
chalk raffle later on as well. Righto. Can you tell us about iChoice, our friend Jason over at iChoice?
Sure. So anyone looking for some finance, whatever it is, whether it's for your property or a car or whatever you need to purchase.
Cars too. I didn't know that.
I think he does everything, every type of finance, and he'll structure things for you. Give him a call on 9743 0000. They're at the corner of the Boulevard and Liverpool Road at Strathfield, and he will get you the best deal on offer. And look, not everyone's in the position right now that they need finance, but when you do come to think of getting finance down the track, please give Jason an opportunity and his team to give you a quote.
And tell him we sent you.
And that'd be nice if you tell him.
Who's to say that? Who's the catch line? Tell him we sent you. Or someone on TV.
I don't know. Can't think of that.
Someone know. Someone's old enough in the comments to remember that one. Maybe I dreamt it. Righto. Yes. I'll give another plug too. So last Wednesday, Az and I spoke to New South Wales coach, women's coach John Strange, and Kezi Apps were here at the OG with us. As the team has been announced, I said, probably the hardest question I gave him on that night was, "Can you please pick Sarah Togatuki?" He said, "Maybe," and she was picked. So Kezi and Sarah back in the Blues. Fold.
Yeah, great to see. I think it was always obvious that Kezi was going to be picked. She's a bit of a stalwart of that team now. She's not captain though. Isabel Kelly has been named captain, so there's a bit of a
coastie
potential changing of the guard in that regard. But
might be a bit of Roosters bias from
possibly.
Yeah, to quiz him about that.
But yes, Sarah getting picked is awesome for her as well. I thought she was pretty good last season, and obviously very good in the Women's Origin game until her second concussion got her, not the Women's Origin game, the Women's Vegas game, until her second concussion got her ruled out of the remainder of that. But yeah, stoked for the girls. That was an awesome chat with John and Kezi. And yeah, if you haven't listened to it yet, I'd highly recommend doing so.
Yep. It's all on the podcast pipes and YouTube as well. So if you listen to this one, go listen to that. You got Adele's one on Sunday as well, if you haven't as well. Yeah, Coach Adele, again, he's going to join us on Sunday night live right here. We'll get the studio happening on Sunday night after the game. Please be a win. Come on, boys. It'd be really good to have Adele on.
Am I invited to hang around for this one?
Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. The whole on that side of the fence, but no, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No, we'll get
Demoted.
I'll get the fourth mic out. Yeah, whoever's here can ask it. I'm sure Adele will take some questions and yeah, maybe he'll tell us what he really thinks.
And try and get down here early, guys, because we're coming here straight after the game. So come and have a drink and a feed with us and have a chat to Adele. I know he's really looking forward to meeting a lot of you, and he's very appreciative of the positive feedback he's got since he's joined our team.
Any specials, Terry, for the OG Sunday for anyone that comes here? Food specials, drink specials? Always a special? Got to be here to get it. Okay. And 22 beers on tap. Is that right, Terry? Say that right? 22 beers on tap. When the Tigers are playing? $7 VBs. There you go. I'd rather pay $9 for a different beer, unless they want to sponsor us. But if he double, I'll pay $14 for a Cooper's instead. Yeah, so come join us on Sunday. That wasn't a lie. I would not drink a VB if you pay me. Righto, let's talk about the game. I'll put the wrong. If they give us some tickets, okay, I'll skull a VB if they give me some free tickets. I'll put the wrong game up there. That's the Knights one.
I'd rather talk about the night.
Can we talk about the Knights?
Talk about that one?
Yeah, that was good fun.
We felt good after that one.
Let me
3-3 on the up.
4 hours.
While I bring the scoreboard, it doesn't really matter for those listening on audio anyway. But 48 hours later, thoughts on the one that got away. Well, not the one. There's many that got away in Tigers history, but that felt like another one that just got away as.
Yeah, the tone for this one felt like it was set pretty early. Obviously, the missed shoulder charge from Kelmer on Terrell May, blatantly obvious when you see it on replay. How that's missed in the moment, I will never understand. And then we get penalised for a love tap on the chin of Junior Paolo. So, I know, swings and roundabouts, I guess. But, yeah, it set the tone for the night. It was potentially going to be a not particularly promising night. Obviously, there was the para chant going up in the first set of the game. That was a little bit awkward and uncomfortable.
And it was an MP3 file this time that we... Yeah, no, it wasn't. Fans. It was actually the fans making the noise, not
up in their little corner
sound that they play.
Well, they had their fan group that they call themselves now the Swarm. Marching from the League Z into the stadium.
We suggested the Swamp would be better.
Yeah, it works a little bit better for them because they're stinky.
They're eels. Yeah,
they're stinky and slimy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they did their march. They bought a drum and some other things with them, a bullhorn, and made a whole bunch of noise and got the vast majority of the para fans pretty fired up pretty early on.
Yep.
And yeah, the game kind of just got away from us. Once again, I haven't obviously had a chance to really touch on this yet, but the refereeing from Liam Kennedy in particular, absolutely disgraceful. Bloody shit is probably the politest way I can put it. All those missed calls against us, the calls that probably should have been made, the really dodgy hit drop call, which obviously, as we now know, Samuela hasn't even been charged for that. So absolutely bogus that was put on report. Just a bit of a mess of a game, really. Love seeing the team fight back into it. Knew that we'd hope that we'd see something like that, considering that's been a bit of the trademark of the team this year, is fighting back when things seem a little bit more hopeless. We did it against the Broncos, although it didn't work that night. We did it against the Dolphins, but it did work that night. So it was really good to see them fight back into it to get the game close again. The sin bin period worked pretty well for us in the end. Didn't concede any points. Scored 10 of our own. So that closed the gap from the 16 after their little onslaught after halftime, and kind of felt like we were back in with a sniff. And then, yeah, a couple of questionable decisions from our boys in the attacking end of the field kind of fell apart. That I'll say the play of the game, in my opinion, was the Josh Adokar intercept. How he tipped it up, probably could have let it just fall to the ground, and they only have to defend another set.
The fact
but they do that from a scrum and from a set line. But the fact that he took the initiative to dive for it and basically fingertip it back into his hands to complete the intercept was absolutely the play of the game, because if that pass goes off, or even if Taruva just dummies that and goes himself, that's another try and potentially a lead, or at the very least a tight ball game with not all that long to go. So, yeah, disappointing one to lose, obviously. None of us like losing to Parramatta. Their fans were a little bit arky around the stadium at the end of the night.
Like them.
I kind of wanted to remind them that they're still last on the ladder, but felt that would not potentially work out all that well in my favour. So, anyway.
Yeah, it was actually the Bulldogs fans as well.
Yeah, the Bulldogs fans were very arky as well.
Yeah.
They wanted to be involved in the post-game reaction, but you said no, rightfully so, because it's for Tigers fans, and they got all uppity about, it's because we're first on the ladder now, and it's our competition and stuff like that.
Should have let him talk, Josh.
They were very cocky.
In hindsight, I should have let him on him.
Mate, let him talk. Tell him, give him our YouTube link, and then just cut it totally. And let them watch the whole thing without seeing themselves.
I was emotional. We're all emotional after that game.
We all were.
Come on, mate.
Their flares matter. I did fear for my safety. Our man, Phil Rogers, he's sent us £10 from old England town. Good on you, Phil. £10. What is that'd buy probably 3 schooners. What's £10 worth? $15. There you go. Couple of schooners, a couple of VBs in that. Thank you, Phil. It's been a tough couple of weeks. Have a schooner on me. Good on you, Phil. They're nice and cold here, not like over there in England. A tariff? Is there a tariff? Do we have a tariff? Or I guess on American beers. The OG is going to put a tariff on the beer. Righto. Mr. Bashara, obviously you had your emotional
psychotic episode, yes,
with Adele the other night, but you basically broke down all the refereeing decisions that didn't go our way. That was about the first 20 minutes of the pod.
I did.
So obviously don't have to go down that route again.
No.
But with 48 hours to cool down, and have you rewatched it again? Because you rewatched it.
No, I watched the rewatch straight away, and it was actually a wise thing to rewatch it straight away for 2 reasons. Obviously, I had to speak to Adele, so I needed to know what to ask him, and I just couldn't have been any shittier. So, it was, may as well watch it while you've totally got the shits.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to get worse. I was absolutely, in terms of shittiness 1 to 10, I was at 10. So it was all right. Look, I'm just going to probably echo what Aaron said about the 2 key points. The hip drop, you got to look at it from the perspective. It was the first set after the kickoff from half time. It happened on the 4th tackle, about 40 metres out from Para's line. So they're most likely going to kick the ball in a couple of tackles, and we just have a little bit of a grind and an arm wrestle for the first few minutes. We never got to settle down in the half because of that. And then obviously the Josh Adokar one, I mean, obviously Taruva's going to score or Buller's going to score, but the thing about if we'd have scored then, we would have had a few more minutes with an extra man. Yep. So we might have even taken the lead. The other points later that came on from Parramatta, especially the last try to Adokar, I mean, that's inconsequential. I don't think, it's very hard to say we should have won the game and we lost by 16. But I think overall Parramatta were the better team. Moses certainly made a difference to them. I still think they've got a pop gun pack. They got two second rowers that are just absolute targets in defence. One of them suspended now for 3 weeks, of course, in our former player Tuolangi.
Oh, he must have got penalised for that, did he?
Yeah, well, he made a miraculous recovery from his hip drop and scored a minute later. Look, it was just I'll tell you what does stand out. When we were down 26-10 and we got back to 26-22, they were 2 kicks from Jerome Luai and we got back to 26-22. So he's done the captain's role there. We had a couple of sets after that in the red zone when we were down by 4 points where Romy wasn't sighted. Okay, he didn't touch the ball much. It just felt like that was the moment, you've got us back into the game. Well done. Appreciate you. Love you. Everything you do. But this was your time to just, you be the man. But ultimately, Josh, and we got Galvin's been the talk of everything. The thing that sucked about not having Galvin in the team, and again, it's Benji, Richo, the senior playing group. Everyone's right to not play him if they don't see fit. But it wasn't like it was just Adam coming in for Galvin. It was Adam moving from left centre to take Jerome Luai's position, Jerome Luai taking Galvin's position, Naden coming in to take Adam's position, and Naden, whilst he did a try assist for Jerome Buller, he missed 6 tackles, in the game. So there's a clear defensive weakness in that left centre position, and perhaps I'm only speculating, like maybe they've kissed and made up with Lockie, but I would say Lockie's just as much in the team for the fact that we don't have anyone that we can trust at left centre. And just finally on all of that, I thought the bench use was terrible, absolutely terrible. We didn't use Suka. We had 3 other players,
which Adele said he was fine with.
Well, we had 3 other players that combined for a total of 55 minutes on the bench. I think Paras were up around 60 or 70. But just to give you a comparison, guys, and I don't know how we're going to match Cronulla here. Cronulla played on the weekend against Newcastle. Their 4 bench players combined for 96 minutes. Total. Ours combined for 55. So that's an extra half of football, 41 minutes more. So we have to use our bench better. I love everything Terrell May does, and to me, he was our best player on the field. But in my heart of hearts,
he didn't get a point, by the way.
He's going to be busted or a heap of shit by round 13 or 14. He can't keep up playing 80 minutes.
Especially plays Origin. He's a good chance to get played for the Blues.
I hope he does get selected for Origin so he gets a rest.
Gets a rest for a week.
Gets a rest.
Gets a weekend
he won't
off.
be playing 80 minutes in Origin, but we need to look after him. The last 10 or 15 minutes, even though he did a job and didn't let us down, you could see he was running on empty. We've got to look at, we're worried about Appy. I know May's a lot younger, but we've got to, I know he's our best forward, but we just got to preserve him and look after him a little. We can't flog him for 80 and have a bloke on there that plays 0 minutes. Or you look at the other minutes, Sione 21 minutes, Bird 23 minutes, De Silva's a hooker, but 11 minutes. Like, there's just not much output there from those blokes.
Yep.
So hopefully they can sort it out, but maybe that comes back to Benji trusting the starters and not so much trusting the bench. But Hunt was a big out. It turned out Hunt being a last minute withdrawal was a massive out for us. So we were very light, and we can't be this light against Cronulla because they've got a big bench.
Yeah, for sure. And to further kind of reiterates the point of the refereeing, especially that hip drop penalty. They got them the back of the back set, and they got another set, and they basically scored.
Three tries in a row.
Yeah, we didn't have the ball for a good
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
9:59 to be exact.
So all that fatigue, people don't think, I think that Parramatta fans are really feeling, and thanks to all the Parramatta fans for really helping the algorithm on our TikToks. Oh, they're copping it, but it just keeps, just gets us more views. So go for it.
That's all right. You just say 2 numbers, 1986. Keep saying 1986.
2 years before I was born. Lost my train of thought.
Sorry, mate.
The referee. So the fatigue, the momentum from the hip drop tackle, all that fatigue, and the Parramatta fans mentioned, you lost by 16. It was a 4-point game, like late in the game. I hate when people, when a team's desperate at the end, obviously they're going to throw the ball around. That leads to mistakes. They're under fatigue, and they got a try in the 79th minute. I think they scored in the last minute as well, and Moses, the a-hole, nails the conversion as well. Of course, it's just that
when
was
you know. Last try. Yeah.
I'd already gone out to set up the post game videos by that try. I saw it on the TV walking out.
Yeah.
But just the momentum of those calls, it's a completely different game. And had that hip drop not happen, and you don't know. Look, I call it the sliding doors moment. But if they not get that repeat set, they might score. Maybe they do end that set as it does, put up a bomber score. You don't know. We can't say for certain ever that a result will change based on whatever. I mean, even the Mitchell Moses, I think it's pretty highly likely if Moses gets rightfully sin binned, we win that game. And people are like, we're down to 11. Well, we had 12. It was 12 on 11. But whether or not you guys had 11 or not, Mitchell Moses made an illegal play in a try-scoring action, he should have been sin bin. Any other time, and I listened to other podcasts, NRL Boom Rookies, they said the same thing. They basically they had one of the journos on this week, and he said the entire press box basically said, "Oh yeah, he's sin binned here." They all expected in the press box at the game, we're expecting Mitchell Moses to get sin bin. I said to you as at the game, I just assumed that they said no try. I'm like, oh well, Mitchell Moses in the bin, and I kind of looked around and I looked back and I saw him in the defensive line. I turned to you and go, did he not get binned? I could not believe.
But it's fair to say he didn't get binned because they were already down to 11 and the ref was gutless. I know. But
it's not even the referee. I know the referee, he didn't give us any 6 agains, but that was a bunker and I had so long to look at it. And like, it's one thing, I get the on-field referee and they need 2 referees back. I kind of feel sorry for the referees in the run of play when things are fast. I can live with, you reckon the pass was forward.
I think the ball looked a mile forward, but like watching the replay, it actually does look like it's backwards out of the hand.
You can live with that stuff.
Yeah.
But when they're looking at it 6 times and they still get it wrong, that's when it's massively frustrating because there's all this technology, all these camera angles in 2025, and we still get a decision that I think, like I said, you can't say for 100% certain because how long would it go? Was there 5? It was 6 minutes to go at that stage.
No, I think it was longer. But the thing
was it less than 10?
No, it was more than 10.
No, it was way more than 10. It was maybe like 14 or 15.
Maybe Moses does come back on and they score a winning try and the result isn't.
Here you go, Josh. So Luke Lowry scored a try at the 67th minute.
So it's the 66th minute then.
Yeah, 65th, 66th.
So it would have been 4 minutes of Moses.
We scored the set after it, guys. We scored from the penalty. My issue with that incident is it's
still 3 more minutes.
But it's a penalty try or it's a sin bin. It can't be anything else.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, Mitchell Moses isn't strong enough to get Luke Lowry on the shoulders and get him into touch.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get him around the head flush, he does not put him into touch. And that's, like I said, we scored the next tackle anyway, but the difference is if it's a sin bin, then they're one less again. But let's keep the Parramatta fans happy for a sec. How the hell can't we score 12 on 11? And when we do score, we had to do it via 2 kicks.
Yeah.
Like we just cannot get anyone straightening up the attack.
But the thing,
we got a couple of half breaks in that time.
Hey, there's 11 on the field.
But the thing about the sin bin too, it was Mitchell Moses. You take Mitchell Moses out of that Parramatta side, we know where they are.
Yeah.
The fact that it was Mitchell Moses, I would even be, if it was, I don't know, name another random Moretti or whatever that did the high tackle and he goes off, like
they've still got Mitchell.
They've still got Mitchell Moses calling the shots, making the kicks. If you take Mitchell Moses out of that side, we know not only what he does with the ball, but what he does in terms of controlling the referee. He's got his fucking hands in the air the whole game, appealing.
They're up by 16 and he's still having a whinge to the ref.
It was a poor decision, but ultimately we should have taken the lead 12 against 11. We should have put more than 2 tries on.
Doesn't make it right, though.
It doesn't make it right.
I'm angry at the team, too. We should have played better.
We've won a few games this year. Like Newcastle, we got hammered by the ref. The Dolphins, we got hammered by the ref. Like we overcame those. Good teams overcome those things.
There's been hammered by the ref, but it's a bunker decision.
Yeah.
That 99 times out of 100, you get it, like you said, a sin bin or a penalty try, and it's not just West. Like I said, the whole on the NRL Boom Rookies, they said the whole press box was shocked that there wasn't a sin bin on that play. We're not.
It's us. We're not. But at the end of the day, our red zone attack is not good enough. And everyone's got to take accountability. The ref was shit. Whatever we organised coaching-wise, tactically, interchanges, what we did on the field, it wasn't good enough, guys. It was there to be won, and we didn't win it. Sure. And now we're in a really bad position. And I guarantee you a lot of this Lachlan Galvin noise would have been a lot less had we won a couple of days ago. And it's going to get louder and louder every time we lose a game.
The other thing as well is, Josh, like those Parramatta fans who are saying, well, we're already down to 11. We can't go down to 10. And obviously the referee thinking the same thing. They're basically saying, oh, well, in the case of being down a few men, that makes foul play completely legal for that team. So what sort of message does that send when there's an incident where a player really should have been sent from the field for some length of time and he's not because of an instance of foul play, has basically gone unpunished? And he's copped a fine for it from the judiciary. So, I mean, there's something there. But in that moment in the game, we get no benefit from an incident where he should have not been on the field.
4 weeks ago, 17 teams were shitting their pants, okay, over the fact that any shot to the head was going to be a sin bin. This was a swinging arm to the head. Like, there's just... The game is a joke. The game's an absolute joke. And sometimes I feel extremely stupid for being so passionate about it because the NRL don't care. They don't do anything about it. And the refs have got too much to referee anyway. Not that, like, this guy could even do an under-17s properly, but it's just awful, mate. Like, that's a clear shot to the head, and then I see other ones that aren't shots to the head. Like I mentioned it in the group chat, Gazewski for Brisbane a couple of weeks ago. It's just a normal tackle around he got him around the shoulders, like with his arm. There was no head contact, no nothing. They gave a retrospective sin bin. I don't know what's going on with the game, guys. And again, there's a lot of money involved and stuff like that. But yeah,
record crowds.
Right? Oh, and get this for irony as well, right? So Liam Kennedy was the referee for our game. He screwed us over from here to Kingdom Come. He's been dropped from being the on-field ref 4 games this week, but he's got a job in the bunker.
Against
for the team that he screwed over. So
he's only got the most important decisions now. He's only got the most important. Okay.
He's gone from being on field to sitting in the bunker with all the time in the world just to find ways to screw us over even more.
Yeah, well,
let's see if we're talking about that on Sunday night.
I know you've got a good stat later on to share with everyone. I won't steal your thunder there.
Right. Play ratings. Should we do play ratings?
Yep.
Let's go for it.
Okay, thank you to everyone who submitted their ratings. That was last night because there definitely was not 9s this week. While I bring that up, guys, who is there a certain player that you want to? I mean, we've already talked about Terrell May, but is there another player that you think stood out as a good performer on the team?
That wasn't in our 3-2-1s or that was in our 3-2-1s?
Yeah, maybe outside your 3-2-1s before you give that away.
In terms of stats, and Big Red is going to love me in Florida, only looking at the stats for nothing else. Alex Seyfarth's meters were very low, 31, but he made 37 tackles, none missed. And then we had a lot of players with multiple missed tackles. So in a game like that was pretty fast, sin bins, more field and territory to cover. I think that's a pretty good effort to be 37 tackles, none missed.
As
I thought Luke Lally was pretty good compared to some of his previous games for us. No, I don't think he made any errors with kick returns except for...
He dropped a bomb in the 44th minute.
He did. Oh, that was... Yeah, okay, I remember that one. But other than that, I thought he was pretty good. I remember the game he played against Souths at Gosford last year. He couldn't catch much at all. So there's been some improvement there. Probably needs a bit more game time. Obviously, we'll spend a bit more time back in reserve grade at some point, most likely. But overall, I thought he was pretty good. Improvement, I think, was the main thing for me for him.
Right, bear with me as I try and get this week's the old stream's not it's not letting me upload. Literally the one slide I'm trying to upload. There we go. All right. Dream Buller 7.5. Our wingers Sunia Tariva 5.1. Luke Lali'i 6.0. Brent Naden 5.2. Stafford Toa 5.7 in the centres. For our halves, Jerome Luai 5.6. Adam Dwayhe 5.2. Terrell May again 8.1, which is probably say that's unders. 7.4 for Fanua Bole. 6.3 for Appy. 6.4 for both back rowers, Samuela and Alex. 6.6 for Alex Twal. Talon De Silva, 5.1. Jack Bird, 4.7. Sione Fainu, 5.9. And Tony Suka, 4.8. I put him in this, even though he didn't play a single minute. Poor Tony. He got a fail mark, even though he didn't get to come on the field, but I left him there because
I think that's a little bit unders. I mean, he played a perfect game. He 0 missed tackles, no 0 errors, didn't make any mistakes. So I feel like that should deserve a 10.
He never touched the ball, but I think that's where the 31 meters comes in.
Have the people got any of those wrong, guys? Let us know in the chat if you disagree with any of those numbers. I mean, Terrell May, I know we we lost, but you could probably give him, I think it was a 9, probably a 9 out of 10 effort. Didn't get a single Daily M point somehow.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What are the does anyone know the Dally M's? I haven't looked.
No,
Yeah,
there was no
can-
Tigers.
There was one Tiger.
Oh, was there one
Jerome
Tiger?
Luai got 2 points.
Who was the Tiger? Who got 2?
Jerome.
How does May not get anything for that?
Who?
Obviously, Moses.
We
got
don't know who the
50
voters
points
are. God, it's a dumb
because
system.
he's a media darling, and I mean, he did
hell.
have a great game. But
Here we go. So Mitch Moses 6. So that
Fair
means
enough.
he got the
Yeah,
3
fair
from
enough.
he got the 3 from both
Yeah,
judges.
fair enough.
Kelma Tuolangi 2, Jerome Luai 2, Isaiah Iongi 1, Jermaine Hopgood 1.
The guy that faked his hip drop got the second most points. There you go. Yeah, for us, I mean, Adam and Jerome in the 5s. Rob, thoughts on Romy starting to get a bit of heat for not performing miracles for us yet. He's had probably a quiet start to the year, which is ironic that there's reports of Lachlan Galvin saying that he's kind of envious of Jerome Luai getting more of the spotlight or whatever, because it seems like Lachlan Galvin definitely, in terms of sharing the ball and touching the ball, was at least equal when he has played for us. But
I don't know if it's fair to go to the prosecution before the defence over on my right here, because I know Aaron's got him in his points this week, and I couldn't see how, although he's in the Dally M points, you said. So that's an interesting one. Look,
were you one of the Daily M voters?
he's got Luai in his 3-2-1.
Oh, there we
So
go.
I will say that the best numbers on your screen there with the player ratings are my top 3, just in a slightly different order. But back to Jerome Luai, what I thought was wrong, I've mentioned already. I felt like at 22-26, we were in the red zone a couple of times. He needed to own the ball. We have paid him a lot of money to come and take over this team. He's probably on 5 times the money that Adam's on this year. So I didn't understand the whole number 6 thing, other than maybe just some sentimentality of wearing Benji's number. But from what Benji said last week, he hoped it freed him up a little bit and let him sort of explore his individual game and kind of regain that running game. And another thing too, which Cronk actually points out that I really didn't pay much attention to in the first time I watched it, when the sin bins happened with Moretti and Taruva, Parramatta formed in a huddle, like Moses got everyone in a huddle, he was talking, whatever, and you look at our team, mate, we're all scattered everywhere. Probably needed a little bit of a get together there and reset. So that's on Luai anyway. In terms of Adam, I look, it's hard for Adam. He hasn't trained in the halves all year. It's his first game there, new combination, and it was his 100th game. So I'm really reluctant to throw shade on someone who's one of my favourite
I don't think
players.
he was bad.
He wasn't bad. He just looked slow.
Miracles.
He looked slow at times. I think the Parramatta hooker was offside from marker and 10 metres a lot, which put pressure on his kicks, because when you saw in the second half that massive torpedo bomb that he put up, he had time to actually execute a really big kick. Didn't do much wrong. He just didn't create. He just looked a bit slow. It just wasn't the answer. And I think if Adam had a really big game, he would have retained his spot in the halves. But it didn't quite work out. And our left centre position is so weak. Whilst Adam's not the strongest defender in the world, his reads from centre are excellent.
He's all right.
He knows when to jam in, when not to jam in. We've seen him do it at centre. We've seen him do it from the wing when needed. But yeah, a little bit disappointing from the halves. I think all the other numbers are pretty good. Talon's, the Silvers numbers, again, he's a young bloke. They aren't bad, but I was really disappointed in a couple of options he took in attack. Kicked a ball tried to kick a
chip
ball.
and chase.
Yeah, chip and chase to Adokar out of all people. Ran from dummy half, and we had a massive line on the left. So that was a little bit disappointing.
That kick that did dribble out, I feel like if he did put that, although Taruva was in the bin, I'm pretty sure, when he did it too, and it was Taruva's wing. So it's like he kicked it for Nate and not Taruva.
It was just a bit of a panic play. But I just want to touch on Luke Lauli that Aaron's mentioned. I know he missed a couple of tackles and dropped that bomb. I can see so much good in his game. He's got so much potential. He cracked the 100 metres mark running. It was only his, 3rd or 4th game in top grade. He's got a lot of potential, and I can see him being a winger for us in a couple of years from now permanently. But, he's got to get these minutes to get that experience and learn. You're not going to learn. I went and watched the first half of Cup at Lidcombe the other day. That was like torture trying to watch that game. I hated watching. I left at half time. It was just a rubbish game. So I don't know what you learn in Cup that much, but I thought Luke was really good for us.
As any numbers that stand out for you before we?
Yeah, I think most of the numbers are fairly accurate. Basically, the ones Rob's already touched on, I agree with. I think both of the second rowers, 6.4 is a little bit low for them. Samuela does a lot of good things. Seyfarth does a lot of good things. There's both obviously some flaws to both of their games, but they're both fairly, well, Samuela in particular is fairly young and inexperienced, but the one other thing I really noticed from watching the game live was the fact that a lot of the time our centers wouldn't find that last pass. They'd hold the ball and try to go for the run option instead of the pass option, when a lot of the time I felt like we had a little bit of, not necessarily an overlap, but a bit of a gap for our wingers, who are obviously a little bit quicker to potentially find breaks where the centers could then back up on the inside if needed to get around the fullback. And a lot of the times we just didn't take those opportunities where we could have potentially maybe gotten some more meters, potential try scoring situations as well. And Naden in particular, I think, was the one who was holding the ball a lot in that situation, not really passing. So maybe there just wasn't a lot of trust there.
Was it me, or did he look slow? He just looks like he's lost all his speed. I don't know. He
didn't have that.
Has he maybe come back from the knee a little early?
I don't know. And Adele mentioned something about him too on Sunday night, which I think was the best way to explain it. When Naden defends, he seems to defend individually. He doesn't, like, they don't do it as a team. He kind of makes his own decisions, not working with the players around him. Look, there's so many people in, like I said, they haven't, that backline's a brand new backline. And it kind of makes you wonder, should we have tinkered with moving Luai from being the general? We paid big money for him, not only to change our culture, but be the man. So I don't think he'll be relinquishing that 7 anytime soon, no matter what the outcome is with Lachlan Galvin.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Az, do you want to kick us off?
So, yeah, as Rob touched on, I gave my 1 to Jerome Luai. I thought this was one of his better games. I mean, he didn't run as much as I hoped he would, and as much as obviously Benji would have hoped and thought he would as well. 2 try assists, didn't do a lot wrong defensively, other than when he was left out to dry by his centre, who was Brent Naden. Overall, yeah, I thought it was a decent game for him. My 2, I've given that to, I think that's Buller. Is that Buller? I can't even remember.
Yeah,
now.
Yeah.
So Jareem got my 2. I thought he was really good as well. That try he scored, which was almost completely a solo effort in the first half, that got us back to 10-10. He showed a lot of strength there, and that's not something we see a lot from him. Strength and speed. He's obviously got the speed, but we hadn't really seen the strength before. He's getting better when it comes to talking to the defensive line from the backfield. I think he's still got a little bit to learn in that regard, but overall, really solid game from him. And my 3, no surprise at all, went to Terrell May. Deserved that try he scored. And like Rob said on the chat with Adele on Monday night, you could always tell that he was going to score against this team with a really weak middle. He just barged straight through them. Monster minutes again, as always. Quality and quantity at the same time. Absolute standout, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's got this award of ours wrapped up by the middle of the season, the way he's going.
RB?
He's going to need to have it wrapped up because he's going to be burnt out. Okay, not happy. I want him preserved a little bit. We've got to do something better about his minutes. I started with Jareem Buller at 1 point. For the 1 point, he had 156 metres, a couple of offloads, a couple of tackle busts. He scored a try. He looked dangerous. Again, he got us that try that eventually gave us that 10-6 lead. He really didn't do much wrong, and he probably should have had a second try if Josh Adokar didn't come up with the heroics he did.
Was he?
I think it was Buller on the inside. Yeah, I think it was Buller inside. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Buller was the man inside. It would have been shut the gates.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then for my 2 points, I gave it to Fanua Bole. He had 157 metres, 37 tackles, 3 missed. His footwork's amazing. He's being really consistent this year. The one thing I noticed the last couple of years, he'd have one good game, a couple of bad games, or he'd have a bad half, and then we'd get him interchange, and suddenly he'd be doing kickoff returns off the back fence. We're just getting the same thing from Fanua Bole and Terrell May every week. So I gave him my 2. The 1 point was obviously Terrell May, 143 metres, 3 offloads, a line break, a try, 42 tackles, 1 missed. He's worked to a standstill. Disappointed that a guy's playing 80 minutes and we're losing. again, I'd love to have him a little bit fresher for Cronulla because they got a lot of big forwards that are going to be coming at us for 80 minutes. But look, he's putting up with it for now. But again, I just worry about burnout. And yeah, he's just an amazing addition. And Richo touched on that tonight. He said, you know, everyone was worried that we were losing Stefano, and we got Terrell May, and it's just he's twice the player that Stefano is.
So based on your player ratings, Terrell May got the 3 points, Dream Bullard 2, and Bolle got the 1. And wow. Terrell May's double of second. He's raced out to 4. He obviously got the perfect 9 again this week. 44 points for him. Bolle's on 22. Dream Bullard 19. And then Lockie Galvin still top 4. Him and Star on 7. And then a few more stragglers behind. But yeah, Terrell May a couple of lengths in front. There.
The length of the straight.
Length of the straight, pretty much, yeah. But a long way to go. Who knows? Maybe Fanua Bolle. But the thing is, if he plays, he's going to get points every week. He's just so freaking
reliable.
Good. So bloody good. Do you reckon he's a shoo-in for a bench spot in the Origin?
I think so, but not everyone, not all the experts are agreeing with that. But I don't know how you don't play him. I actually think he'd be more damaging if he's only playing for 45, 50 minutes. He's an amazing player. And the best part is, for all his output, there's not many errors. There's no mistakes. He can offload at will. He can crack the line. I guess a lot will depend on who the hooker is as well. Hopefully, Appy gets a look in if we get some wins.
Do you want Appy to play?
Yeah, I do.
You want him to play?
I want him to play. Like it's just, he's had a couple of years with us in terms of finishing last, not in terms of his performance. He's been our best player. I just, we want to beat the Queenslanders, don't we?
Yeah, I hate Queenslanders almost as much as I hate Parramatta fans. But
you know what you're getting with Reece Robson? Like Reece Robson's got the blinkers on. He just takes off from dummy half, makes his tackles, got absolutely zero.
My emotional attachment to the result of Origin doesn't really change that much when a Tigers player is in. I always want the Blues to win, but I also prefer the Tigers win. And
on the opposite,
I would rather Appy.
My emotional attachment gets higher if we've got, like when Robbie Farah was playing. It made me more passionate.
I want the Tigers. There's more of an emotional attachment for those guys, our guys that play good.
Yeah.
But in terms of Blues winning or losing, I always want the Blues to win.
How about this, Josh? So the Origin affected bye rounds that we have the bye in are rounds 12 and 15, which are the weeks before Origin 1 and 2. So how about those guys play Origin 1 and 2? We win both of those, wrap up the series, and then we get those boys back for the round 3, Origin 3-1.
So we don't miss
the bye round against the Roosters.
So we don't lose them.
So we don't lose them for a game unless they don't back up. So basically, round 12 is the one where round 12 and 15 are the ones where the Origin players who are selected sit out because they're selected after the previous round. They sit out that week and then go into they're in Origin camp for the game on Wednesday.
What days of the week are following Origin?
Round 13, I'm pretty sure that's a Friday or maybe a Saturday.
Of course, it's
up in Townsville.
Really?
Round 15. No, sorry, round 16, I think, is the first game of the round, Friday, 8 o'clock against Canberra.
Yeah.
At Campbelltown. And then
the guys are checking. The guys are.
I would have just thrown the phone at you, Josh, if you asked me that. Seriously.
The backup after Origin 3, I think we're off to New Zealand. But the bye round for Origin 3, we have the Roosters and Allianz.
I barely remember what I had for breakfast. That's incredible.
I'm trying to work out what time we play Cronulla on Sunday.
I got that wrong before. It says 2 o'clock kickoff before. It's 4 o'clock. Your best rants for this week, Andrew said Benji showing he can't coach. Luai showing he can't be dominant half. Appy failing as a leader. So I don't necessarily agree with all the comments, but that's... Do you think Andrew's been a bit harsh there in the comments? He didn't win the $20 voucher with the Orange Grove. I just thought
I think it's harsh.
I try to pick out comments that are not like the others.
I think it's harsh, but again, like Blue Eye's on a lot of money, and I think they're expecting when the game's on the line, we get a bit more out of him as captain.
Phil Rogers, our man over there in England, said, bag the ref all you want. This defeat was down to us, especially as senior players. Luai needs to start earning his money. He is neither controlling the game like a 7 nor running like a 6. Poor discipline, poor kicking, poor edge defense. Truva needs a good spray after his display today. Naden should be anywhere near the first team, and why didn't Suka get any minutes? A big week ahead for Benji. # clause out.
Just on there, what about Moses getting the clause out? Did you see that photo?
No, I didn't.
He's got a photo doing the clause out at everyone. He's just such a wanker.
It's not like he played games to get out of the club early either, eh?
It's not like we made him a massive
he's some sort of upstanding citizen.
As opposed to, he's usually got his arms in the air,
Absolute
feeling
jerk.
for a penalty. Banjo said, things the team can't control. Player managers, players criticizing coach, referee decisions, journalists criticism of team, celebration of AD 100 games, return of opponent's marquee player, unavailability of a Tigers player. Unfortunately, these things continually derail the team's performance. I admire the solidarity and the effort of the team this week on and off the field. However, this game went exactly as I envisaged. Frustration and poor discipline proved costly once again. And if Benji can eliminate the triggers to emotional behaviour, the wins will come. And now on to the winners who picked Frank.
That was me. We never win these statement games. Let's hope the Galvin drama isn't the start of the end for us. I thought we missed Royce Hunt. Jack Bird looked lost without his partner in crime. The turning point was the Fainu dangerous tackle that wasn't. This year we've been able to defend referee errors, but with such a different team this week we couldn't do it. Our defensive combinations were off with the Dewey and Naden positional changes causing havoc with our defensive structure. The Eels took advantage of these. Well played, Mitch and Isaac. The timing of your grubby agitation tactics couldn't have worked out better for the dirty slimes. We need to start our own book of feuds with these dirty grubs. P.S. It's stupid that we didn't give Suka a run. We could have at least sent him out there to take Moses' head off.
What's the extra E for in Eagles, do you reckon?
Because, I don't know.
That's a typo.
No idea. I just saw that there was a third E there, so I read it with the third E.
I was quoting
excited.
I was quoting The Simpsons and you kind of missed it. That's all right. You know NRL draws? I know The Simpsons. That's my only superhero.
Speaking of NRL draws, I was right. I had a look.
Oh, I didn't doubt. I didn't even bother checking.
Just one of the days I got wrong. The Cowboys game in round 13 up in Townsville is a Saturday. I was right about the Raiders in round 16. Which the
you're right. All right, moving on. We know you're right. Craig Aquilina.
Yeah, you can read this one out, Josh, if you don't mind.
Can't say too much. He says can't say too much and writes a whole couple of paragraphs. Can't say too much. Might get a legal letter for bullying the team and ref. Cannot fault Pole. May or Buller easily our best, but really disappointed that once again our worst players were from our spine, running too lateral when Eels all year have been demolished through the middle. Sorry, Benji, but all you had to do was get them to run it straight. Emotions were clearly too high today, and we just weren't ready. Just weren't mentally ready for that game. On to next week, where we will beat the Sharks.
Love the confidence.
Fingers crossed. Okay, moving on to that game in particular, which is not to that one. I'm going to get the new slide up, but. Righto, as we move on to 4 p.m. Sunday, we are back at the 8th Wonder of the World, Leichhardt Oval. We take on the Sharks. Take us through the team list as I bring it up.
All right, so Dream Buller is our fullback. Sania Taruva and Brent Naden are our wingers, with Adam Dewey back in the centres along with Stafford Toa. Lachlan Galvin is back in at 5'8", with Jerome Luai shifting back to the 7. Terrell May and Fanua Bole are our front rowers, with Api Coruscant at hooker. Samuela Fainu and Alex Seyfarth are the second rowers, with 150 games coming up for Alex Twal at lock. Talon De Silva, Royce Hunt, Jack Bird and Sione Fainu are our bench. Tony Suka is 18th man. Heath Mason, Kit Laulii, Solomon Fa'atape and Tristan Hope are our reserves.
All right. Thoughts on the team list? Rob kind of already touched, obviously. There's one name that stands out from the rest in the halves there. Lachlan.
Oh, our names?
Yeah. No, our names.
Oh, you're going to talk about
no.
I'm like, who?
No. For the West Tigers, Lachlan Galvin in the halves. Do you think he can the team put it all aside and players won, winners won, # clause out?
I'd love to think so. I don't know if they can, but I'd love to think so. this has been the hot topic of conversation in our Discord, which I've copped a bit of grief over. But I think Lockie's going to cop a little bit of grief from the crowd, which I'd be very disappointed in.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry, you too.
Me too. Yeah, I don't want the crowd. I want the West Tigers to win the game. And if the West Tigers fans are booing Lachlan Galvin every time he touches the ball, and that makes him 10% less likely to play good football, then we're less likely to win. So why do it? I want the West Tigers always. I don't care who's in the jersey. I want the West Tigers the best chance of winning every single time they're out on the field. And if we're booing Lachlan Galvin, that's hampering that. So I'm disappointed.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree totally. And that this is coming from someone that's booed a team off at halftime basically 4 years ago to this month when we did the Tommy Radonicus tribute game, and we lost to the Wooden Spoon favourite Cowboys. I think they ended up finishing 15th that year. Like, they were a rabble, and they absolutely thrashed us. And I just thought, how can't you guys get up, for a legend of the West, Magpies? It was just really disappointing. But that came on the heat of the moment. But this would be premeditated if you're going to boo Lockie. If you're going to boo Lockie Galvin, just don't go to the game. I get the emotion, but if you're going to hinder the chances of us winning a game, then you're doing exactly what Galvin's camp are doing with this legal action and all this sort of stuff. You're lowering yourself to what he's done to us. So just be on our side. It's your team. It's a chance to get to the finals. I didn't care if we picked Lockie Galvin or not, but the fact that we've picked him, we've just got to go with it and move on. And we don't know how long he's going to be there. We don't even know if he's going to play Sunday. Something might happen between Wednesday night and Sunday, whether it's a legal notice or someone pulls out and maybe Heath Mason comes into the halves. We don't know how it's going to pan out. But for right now, he's wearing our jersey. He's one of us. I don't know about you guys. I'm sick of not playing finals football. I would really like to take my family to the finals this year. That'd be really, really nice. And winning Sunday would give that a much better chance, and then go to Magic Round and put this drama in the media every day to bed, because every time we lose, it's going to be, well, should we play him or shouldn't we play him? And further to that, I get 100% everyone being upset with him. I've got no issue with that. But just, do you want the team to win or do you want to boo him? What's more important? That's what it comes down to. If you want the team to win, just suck it up for 80 minutes. You want to do something later or whatever, that's your business. And I get the frustration, but mate, we're West Tigers. We got to win this week. If we don't win this week, I'm telling you, I probably won't even go to another game this year, because that'll be the season over. I've already cancelled Magic Round. I was that devastated after Sunday night. My son came up and he said, don't want to go. And I did not need any convincing. I said, done. We cancelled our tickets. We're not going anymore.
Did you have the flights booked?
No, we were driving up.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm actually not looking forward to going to Leichhardt, which is really sad. But, hopefully by 4 o'clock, we'll be revved up to the max and we just, somehow lift these guys over the line and get the win.
I just want to add as well, my argument in the Discord, we've got two spiritual home grounds, Campbelltown, where we've played 2 games already this season, Leichhardt, where we haven't played any. We've got all these new signings who've come to the club this year who are about to play their first proper game at Leichhardt as a Tiger. Some didn't even play the trial. Obviously, Jerome didn't play the trial, but we've got Sania Taruva, Jack Bird, Jerome Luai, Royce Hunt, and whose name am I blanking on? There's a fifth new signing who's...
Well, Skelton's not going to play.
Skelton's not there, but we've got all these new players who haven't played at Leichhardt. Oh, Terrell May, of course. That's the other one I was forgetting.
Only our best player.
All these new players who are playing at Leichhardt for the first time.
I guess Tigers. He doesn't need how could he get any better?
Exactly.
Could Leichhardt possibly make him any better?
But they are Tigers now, playing at the ground where I think the crowd is the loudest and the most parochial in the entire competition.
It's by far statistically our best. It's only
It's the only home ground where we have a winning record.
We have a winning record. And we love, and that's when we say this stuff about our beloved Leichhardt, we're big Campbelltown supporters and believers. We think Campbelltown should get more games than Leichhardt Oval, but you cannot deny the fact that when the West Tigers play at Leichhardt Oval, they are more likely to win. It's statistically correct.
Hang on, before our Magpies element lose their shit, okay, just to put you back on the Kezi Apps episode, okay, that you guys did with Kezi and John Strange, and you never clipped it, which I'm disappointed with you about. Kezi App said talking about the Harvey Norman grand final that day where,
it
went to extra time and Golden Point. She said she has never seen a fan base like ours and how loud we were cheering at Campbelltown. There was only like 2,500, 3,000 of us, and we made so much noise and it felt like the ground was full. That's how passionate our fans are. So I just don't think we're bagging Campbelltown. I love going to Campbelltown. It's the only ground that I've got season tickets at. Okay. And that's because Leichhardt's home. Like Campbelltown's a bit of a novelty for me, but I will say one thing. You're talking about home records. I'll give you the tip. We're not going to have a great home record if we keep playing fucking Parramatta at Parramatta. Yeah. Okay, that has to stop. I never want to play Parramatta at Parramatta again. We've got 15 other teams to choose from to play, and love Richo, and Richo's hardly made a step wrong in his whole 18-month tenure there. And he was raving on about the $1 million gate today. That's great. The $1 million is great, but I guarantee those 2 competition points, if we come 9th or just miss out on the 8 or lose on 4 and against or whatever, it's going to come back to bite us, and that can cost us sponsors, extra fans, new fans. Like, just don't be playing Parramatta at CommBank, for fuck's sake.
We could have, if we play the Bulldogs there, we'd probably make $1 million. You could argue we could make $1 million.
Don't play another team at their home ground where Mitchell Moses knows every blade of grass, where he can kick a 40-20 from here or nail a goal from the sideline. Just play another team. Don't even play Penrith there, because in a couple of years, that'll be Penrith. Like, Penrith are there for a couple of years till they get their home ground sorted out.
Yeah, but
play a team that does not know how to get. They need sat nav to get there. Okay, that's who you play at CommBank. Someone that's never been there. Play anyone. Play Newcastle. Play Manly. Play someone that doesn't go there. Look at the record and see who can we make it as hard as possible for them to beat us. That's what we got to do.
I'm fine with Penrith.
We need to care about our competition position. And I know we got to care about money, but you can do both.
But we played at a core. We probably played at a core next to the Easter show. You're probably getting 50,000 people.
But if we're playing an out-of-town team like New Zealand, you still got all your corporate seats there. Like, Richo can still sell all these corporate seats to whoever he wants.
Yeah.
But we're just not giving the other team an advantage. And anyway, I can't ever see someone taking a game to Leichhardt or Campbelltown and playing us there.
Yeah, that'd be, unless it was during COVID. I think that happened during COVID. But
love you, Richo, by the way.
Yeah, we love you, Richo.
Like, the only negative thing I've said about him in 18 months.
Hey, it's 99%. It's like yin and yang. He's
the best administrator. Best signing we've ever made.
Yeah,
keep saying it till I'm blue in the face.
And yeah, so just
we don't care about your profit margins.
Just back to finish what I was saying. I think we really need to make a point of welcoming those guys to Leichhardt for their first game more so than the negativity around the Lachlan Galvin situation. And not only that, but it's also Anzac round. If there's an occasion to show the utmost respect, it's Anzac round. And I mean, I know the teams are going to walk out side by side. They'll have the little Anzac ceremony before the game. So there's not really a chance to roar uproariously or boo uproariously or anything like that at that particular moment. There's the second half when they still run out separately, obviously. But for Anzac round, Leichhardt Oval, it's a pretty solemn weekend. Obviously, there's still footy going on, but it's a solemn occasion for all concerned. And I think, if anything, that it's the time to show respect. Like, put the Lachlan Galvin stuff to the side. Respect the servicemen and women who have fought and died for this country and have gotten us to the place we're at now, and watch a game of footy and hopefully cheer on the Tigers to a big Leichhardt win.
To pull on that string there too, well said. One thing that will piss me off now that you said it'll piss me off more than booing Lachlan Galvin. If you make a noise and scream during the minute's silence during the Anzac ceremony, you're a dickhead, and I hope you choke on your hot dog. Fuck you to anyone who makes a noise during an Anzac. I hate it. I think it's become less and less prevalent. Back in the day, you used to get a lot of people cheering out their team names, especially the Dragons Roosters games, because obviously it's a much bigger crowd and it's actually on Anzac Day. Yeah. But if I hear one person making a stupid loud noise during the silence, literally, I hope someone boots you out. So show some respect to the West Tigers, but especially show some respect to our fallen soldiers. So well said. Righto, moving on. Anything else on this game to pull on, guys? Anything before we go to our
I was just going to touch on a bit of disrespect. It's not a funny story, but it's just a story that I didn't know how to react at the time. About 40 years ago, I was at Cogra on Anzac Day, and I think Steve Rogers was playing for St George at the time. It was Anzac Day, and I was standing about 2 meters in front of Skull. Have you ever heard of Skull, the famous St George supporter? Like their bald head, black belt karate. You don't even want to say hello to him.
Is he still around?
Oh, he's still around, but he's probably 70 or something like that.
There's a Mount Druitt.
Everyone's standing deadly silent and still, during the bugle, and then he just screams out, "Let the war begin!" And like no one even dared turn around and say anything to him. He was so disrespectful. But yeah, you always get a lunatic or two at these sort of things. But
obviously, an empty skull,
mate. You wouldn't want to muck around with this bloke back in those days.
Righto, footy tips for.
I haven't read out the Sharks team list yet.
Oh, haven't you? Sorry, I wasn't listening.
We got a little bit all caught up in the Lachlan Galvin situation.
We haven't spoken about Lachlan Galvin.
We're playing the Sharks.
Yeah, there is another team that's going to be showing up at Leichhardt, although this a little bit earlier than this time last year, this same team didn't really show up to Leichhardt. But anyway,
cross they stay in the Shire again. Righto, as brings.
Their fullback is William Kennedy. Their wingers are Samuel Soanstreet and Ronaldo Mulatalo. They've got Jesse Ramian and Mawene Hiroti in the centres. Braden Trindle and Nico Hines are their halves. Adam Fanua-Blake and Oregon Kaufusi are their front rowers with Blake Brayley at hooker. Britton Nickera and Teague Wilton are their second rowers with Cameron McInnes at lock. Daniel Atkinson, Siasifa Talakai, Tuku Hao Tapua and Tom Hazelton are their bench. Jaden Beryl is their 18th man with Braden Hamlin-Ueli, Billy Burns, Hohepa Puru and Jesse Colquhoun in the reserves.
Just going to pull up a comment. Gaza says some people also have disabilities, so don't jump to conclusions. Obviously, in terms of making, obviously, Gaza. But when someone screams out their team name, it's usually a drunken idiot. Obviously, a kid, a child, or someone who obviously Gaza. Didn't really need to remind me of that. But anyway, Sharks team, Roberto.
It's a solid team. If I rate the Sharks on the whole year, I would say we've been a tougher team mentally, but structurally and technically, they lap us. They know what they're doing. They're familiar with their style. They go about it the same way every week. I just think they got a little bit of a soft underbelly, and that doesn't mean they can't towel us up like they're flat track bullies when they play well. But I'm really concerned about their team. They've got a good pack. They've got a good back line. Their bench has got, two actual genuine props, and Talakai on top of that, who's a bulldozer, who can play in the backs or forwards, and Atkinson, who's an outstanding young talent going to the Dragons next year. So we're going to have our hands full. We need our bench to do a lot more minutes than they did last week. I hope Benji gets it right. I don't know. It looked like last week that we hadn't even trained. That's how it looked. It was just like the backline stuff. It just looked, let's just wing it. Let's just play what we see. We didn't know what to do in the red zone. We just need a little bit more technical instruction, I think, this week, and have a set game plan. Like, it was clear to see when we played the Broncos, we were deliberately trying to kick behind the line, and we had a certain game plan against the Knights, but last week it just looked like we just showed up and boys, just try your best. We'll guts it out, and that's not good enough. You got to have everything. You can't just have it half right. You got to have it all right. So I am worried about this week. I don't hold much hope. I'm really just hoping the Leichhardt crowd can lift them and get off to a good start and just hold on for dear life.
Righto. The other games this weekend, the Broncos are playing at home in Brisbane again, because that's basically what they get to do every week. The Brisbane Broncos up against the Dogs. As you and I both gone the Brisbane Broncos to end the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs winning streak.
Yeah, this is more just out of hope than anything for me. I just want the Dogs to lose.
What's the hope there? I'm trying to understand the hope. Why do you want them to lose?
Because someone needs to take them down a peg. Their fans are getting a little bit too big for their britches. I'm sick of it. I'd like to see someone actually finally be able to beat the Bulldogs.
Terry Lamb, 1988. Come on.
Oh, it's not about that. I don't like them in general. I'm just saying, in terms of our chances of making the 8, if they're definitely in the 8, we need them to beat. I mean, I'm sure Brisbane will be in the 8 too, but they've lost a couple of games, and they might, if they lose again, they've already lost Reece Walsh for 6 weeks. They're chopping and changing with their team. I think Piakora is in this week because they lost Jordan Ricky.
Hang on. So you're going from the season's over to you think we can finish higher than the Broncos on the table?
That's my defense mechanism, mate. That's my defense mechanism. Listen, let me stick to my theories. It's over, okay? But we're 3 and 4. Like, of course we can make the 8, but we're not going to make the 8 as long as this black
I get what you're
cloud,
saying.
Galvin stuff. Like, look,
mathematically, you're right.
All right, let me rephrase it, okay? And again, no disrespect to Lockie Galvin. If we were starting with Latu Fainu and we had our left centre position sorted out and maybe one more middle on the bench, and that's going to happen, it just might not happen for 2 or 3 weeks. And if we're 3 and 6, then I think we're pushing shit uphill to make the 8. That's what I'm concerned. I'm not saying we're going to collapse and come last and not win a game again this year. I think we're going to have a really good team in 3 or 4 weeks from now. But right now, there's just disharmony, whether we like it or not. I don't know if Lockie's there just for genuine reasons or if it's a fact that we've just got no left centre and, Adam didn't do a great job at 7. He's better off playing, number 3. I don't know what the reason is, but I don't think he's there because it was his first choice. I reckon if Latu was available, Latu would have started this weekend, and he's not. And, he was in a cast apparently on the weekend, and he's still at least another week away, potentially 2 weeks away. So, yeah, I think it's over because I think we're going to lose our next couple of games because this whole drama is just not going to go away until it's sorted out. And
if Lachlan Galvin comes out and they play well and they're high-fiving and looking good, can one win here and Lachlan Galvin playing well with the team sway your opinion? We go to 4-4.
Let me start backwards. You know how you always talk about sliding doors moment?
I sure do. I love
Remember when we beat Parramatta early in the year, like quite comfortably?
I remember that, yeah.
Okay. Remember when they scored in the last minute? There's the romantic in me. I could be totally way off here. There's the romantic in me that if Lockie Galvin makes that tackle and stops the try, there are 12 other West Tigers players that absolutely jump on top of him and swell him with a wave of emotion that he says, I'm not leaving this joint. That's the part of me that makes me think, geez, if he could have just made that tackle and kept a clean sheet that day and the hero he would have felt like and realised like I'm totally invested in this team, that could have worked. Now, that romantic thing put aside for a sec, as soon as I found out, I think it was either late Monday night last week or Tuesday morning that the senior players, the captains, had approached Benji to not have him in the team and that there's been disharmony there, I went and got the IQ out, got the minis of the West Tigers' last 3 games. So it was basically yesterday, like the Newcastle at the time, and then the game before, which was Brisbane, and the game before that, which was the Warriors. And in particular, I looked at the tries that Lockie set up. So, for example, in the Warriors game, the Toa try where he put Safar through a gap, I looked at all the try celebrations for the last 3 games. It just didn't look like there was the odd tap on the shoulder, tap on the head. But you look at Lockie Galvin's try against Parramatta under the post and you see Luai hugging him and slapping him again and slapping him again. So you could see that there's been some sort of fracture there. In my opinion, just from observing that, all the other guys were getting hugs and slaps and whatever, and it just felt like he wasn't as embraced. I think this has been brewing for a few weeks. Richo said tonight that they've tried to lock him up for the last 6 weeks. So maybe some of the senior players knew that Lockie didn't want to be a part of the group prior to that, and they've taken a little bit of attitude over it. So I think it hasn't been right for a while. But, yeah, I haven't seen anyone jumping backwards over to celebrate with Lockie, which is quite sad. And given that he's brought it on himself, it's still not a nice thing. Like, it's still a team sport.
Yep. Can't disagree with that. Next game, probably my favourite non-Tigers game of the year, Roosters and Dragons. We've all gone the Chookies in this one, but it's going to be a good one as...
Yeah, really interesting game, this one. The Roosters usually have the wood over the Dragons in this one. Obviously, it's at their home ground, because it alternates home team every year. But it's a really interesting shape of a game this week because obviously the Roosters still down second last, 2 wins, while the Dragons are up in the top 8 and looking pretty darn good. I just think the Roosters get up for the occasion. They've shown some positive signs of improvement over the last few weeks. They just ran into a Penrith team that were desperate after 5 consecutive losses this last week. But their win over the Broncos a couple of weeks ago has really got me not necessarily believing in them, but believing that they're a chance of climbing out of that bottom 4 in the not too distant future. And I just think, at home game, massive occasion, they get up.
50-50 job for me, but Roosters Angus Crichton's back. The Roosters have dropped Dominic Young. They've got back Billy Smith and they've put the guy I can't pronounce. You know his name, Aaron Mark.
Nwanga.
Yeah, him. He's on the wing. I think it's a bit of a waste. He's got such a good offload. But defensively, he's a bit weak, and I think Billy Smith's a better defender. But
he's been a good signing for them.
I'm going to say Roosters. They're so hot and cold. I don't think they've got much spirit this year, but I think they'll find it this week.
Nothing like a hot chook. Warriors and Knights. We've all gone the Wars.
This one's in Christchurch as well, by the way. So it's not at Mount Smart, but I think over there they're a little bit too good at the moment, especially with the Knights being unable to score points.
We played them at Christchurch
in a trial last year.
Was it a trial? Was it? What was I thinking? Pascoe took a home game.
Yeah, we did take a home.
That was Hamilton.
Hamilton. Okay.
Don't argue, mate.
Even New Zealand geography. Got it on New Zealand geography as well. I also know Hamilton used to have a street circuit.
Yeah, I've gone the Warriors as well. I think the Newcastle are finished until they sack Adam O'Brien. They're not playing for the coach. The difference in
Nathan Brown all over again.
Mate, the way Ponga played against us at Campbelltown, and he was everywhere compared to the way he played against us 10 days ago, it's chalk and cheese. They're not performing.
This might be something I look up maybe for next week, but I'm wondering if a team that started 2-0 has ever gone on to finish with the spoon that year, because I think the Knights are potentially on a collision course for that very feat.
If they don't sack the coach, I think they are the Spooners. And I have got some homework for you next week, because Josh worried me when he said this. Do we ever win games when it's a milestone? Because we had the 100th for Adam, and I just heard you
that up.
When you said Adam Alex Twoll was playing his 150th. I
don't think there's a way.
Yes, we do. We won. I can tell at least one off the top of my head. Robbie Farah's 300th in Newcastle.
Okay, there you go. Of course, I was there.
I was there too. Great night.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. We've all gone the Storm. This might be the Rabbitohs looking pretty good. Maybe, I don't know. The Storm.
Here's a stat for you.
Yeah.
The Storm 19 in a row at home against the Rabbits.
Yeah. So
is that effectively saying they haven't won down there?
They have not won down there in the last 19 attempts, which date back into the 1990s.
Yeah, because they went around.
So they must have had a home game there every year or something. Is that how it works?
Not every year, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
They've never won in Melbourne, mate.
Not yet.
But South have pulled the trigger. They've got Latrell at fullback. They've put Jai Gray on the bench.
Records are made to be broken.
Beg your pardon?
Records are made to be broken.
Yeah, they are.
There goes Jai Gray.
It's funny how there's stuff like that in rugby league, though. Like Thurston, my favourite one, Thurston never beaten the Tigers in Sydney. Like there's just funny curses or voodoos or whatever you want to call them in rugby league.
You'd expect Melbourne to bounce back after getting spanked by the Dolphins.
How did they lose that game, though? That's the main question out of that one.
Well, they didn't start with Harry Grant.
16-2 up. They conceded that 2 points right off the bat, and then scored 16, and then went on to concede 40 for the rest of the game without putting on a single point. Very unstorm-like performance.
Yeah, it's not the reason, but they also lost. I forget the guy's centre, the left centre for Melbourne.
I know who you're talking about.
His name. Jack Howarth.
I think they had 2 injuries.
Yeah, they had a few injuries
to their backs in the game as well.
They can't be machine like every week. They've got to have a loss. This is such an even comp. Again, that's why our plight is so disappointing, because we should be right in the thick of it.
Cowboys up at home against the Gold Coast Saturday afternoon. We've all gone the Cows. Yeah, home game. The Cows are starting to.
Yeah, Cows coming off a bye. So
Murray Taulagi 100th game as well. So I think they'll live for that.
Panthers are playing Manly at Combank on Saturday evening. We've all gone Panthers in that one.
The Panthers haven't won a game at Combank yet this year out of all their home games. So I was tempted to tip Manly, and I probably would have if Tom Trbojevic was playing. But I just can't trust Manly at the moment without him.
Yeah.
Penrith are obviously coming off that really big win. So now let's see if they get momentum.
Turbo's playing?
Turbo's playing, is he? I thought he was still out injured for another 2-3 weeks.
Oh, that might change things, but Manly haven't won a game since DCE's dramas have come out in public. So
they won that week, didn't they?
I don't think that's not what was said today on the radio.
Maverick Guys.
I'm not going to argue with Dustin Hoffman though, but
Maverick Guys in the 17.
Yeah, someone said today they haven't won since the drama, but I could be wrong.
Has Maverick Guy debuted? Yeah, is this his debut? Maverick Guy? Mark Guys?
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, but has he played first grade yet?
He played first grade maybe with 3 or 4 rounds left last year. Actually started in the second row.
Raiders at home against the Finns Sunday afternoon. We've all gone Raiders. Raiders at home.
Yeah, but this is a tough one. I've gone Raiders, but
they got very inconsistent.
But they were down 16-0 too, weren't they, the other day against Gold Coast? I'm sure they were down 16-0.
They were down 16-0, something around that.
They're a bit hot and cold, but they're going very well. But again, the Finns have got a really good team.
I was the only one in my comp that tipped the Titans in that game.
Well, I've tipped Canberra, but Dolphins could win.
And the last game of the round on a Sunday afternoon, as is tradition, as and I stuck solid. You're off them. You've gone the Sharkies. Rob, I mean, the money. I think we're $3 something outside.
$2.90-ish.
We're in the high twos.
Well, if you want a confession, remember last week I kept chopping and changing with the Tigers and Parramatta? I changed back to Parramatta after the show.
Okay.
No,
so that's why we lost. All this complaint about referees, and it was you changing your tip.
That black cloud was hanging over me. I just couldn't shake it off.
Righto. Moving on to lower grades. The Magpies with Lachlan Galvin went down 22-10. The Tommy Raudonikis Cup this week. Shane, are you heading to Lidcombe Oval on Tommy Raudonikis Cup? No, Shane's not going. Saturday? Yeah, Saturday afternoon, 2:00 against the Newtown Jets. Oh, right. We want a coach sacking of the Magpies, do we, Shane? Okay.
I'm not sure. They were awful on Sunday.
Shane's saying he wants Aaron Payne removed. I have no opinion on that one whatsoever. Tasha Gale and Lisa Fiaola. The Tasha Gale game, so frustrating. We're up 16-10 at halftime. Was it as?
I don't remember.
We're up though at halftime.
16-6.
We're up by 2 tries, I think, at halftime.
Yeah.
And it was about 15 minutes to go. We're still up. I had to go grocery shopping and then check the score and realize that we lost. So,
I also had to leave to drive my brother to an appointment after about the first 10 minutes of the second half. So
yeah,
I went to switch the game back on when I found a spot to park and saw that the Sharks girls were celebrating scoring a try literally after the 60 minutes had passed.
Roosters.
Oh, the Roosters. Yep. After the 60 minutes had passed on the clock, and I'm like, oh no, you've got to be kidding me. So I did hear about what happened. I did rewind it back and to see the replay. Really, just an unfortunate piece of play where the ball they went for a field goal at 16 all.
That was a
ricocheted off one of our players back into their arms, broken defensive line under the posts, and they win by 6 on the bell.
In the Lisa Fiaola, similar sort of finish. The Tigers went up, and then the Sharkies came back and tied it. But in that one, the girls muscled up.
Really smart kick off with a minute and a half to go.
It's like a off spinner.
They got the ball back, had a crack at them for the last minute and a half, and with about 30 seconds to go, scored a match-winning try that was also converted. So they're playing similar sort of finishes. But
one way or the other.
They've made it to basically the prelim final. If they win this next game, they're into the grand final.
Roosters on, when is that? Saturday at 1:00 at Dudley Chesham Sports Ground at the Oaks. Where is that? I have no idea. But out west, Western Sydney, near Warragamba. Yeah, right. They're sending the girls all the way out near the airport. Yeah, right. Okay. Why wouldn't they play at Leichhardt Oval? Anyway, either way, get the win. And is a grand final at Leichhardt?
Nah, grand final last year because they did all 4 grand finals at the same day. Yeah. So SG Ball, Harold Matz, Lisa Fiaola, Tasha Gale, all at CommBank. So I'd imagine potentially there again.
I was there.
You were there, yeah.
I should remember that. I was actually there because our girls lost to the Doggies, didn't they? Righto, moving on to Statsman. What have you got for us this week?
So I got two. I'll start with a quick one. So far there have been 4 matchups this season where teams have played each other twice. This is only in 7 rounds, by the way. So 4 double-up matches in the first 7 rounds of the competition. All 4 matchups have had the reverse result happen in the second time round. So there was the Broncos and the Roosters, who split with the Broncos winning round 1 and the Roosters winning round 6. There was us and Para, obviously us winning round 2, Para winning round 7. The Panthers and the Roosters split as well. Panthers winning last weekend and the Roosters winning round 2. And the 4th matchup that's been a replay off the top. Oh, yeah, us versus Knights, where the Knights won in round 1 and we won in round 6. So 4 matchups where the reverse result has happened on the second meeting. So keep that in mind for your tipping throughout the season. Whatever happens the first time round, pick the opposite for the second.
Did maybe you mention our game right 2 days ago?
Yeah, Para.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Para.
That's what we mentioned last week, and that's what I was worried about.
And then, that was one of the things you mentioned that in the Discord. And the other thing I had, which Rob alluded to earlier, so our record in games refereed by Liam Kennedy.
Boo.
So
boo him. I'll give you permission to boo.
He's refereed our games 8 times. Now, the first time in 2019 was still in the 2-ref system, so he only gets partial credit for this one. We lost that game. His first game that he refereed for us was, by the way, that was against Souths, a away game for us. We lost 32-16. His first game that he ref for us solo was in 2022 versus the Dragons. We lost that at home 22-24.
What ground was that?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
It was Combank.
I think it might have been Combank. Yeah. 2023, he refereed the Souths game that we lost at Accor 20-0. And he also refereed the Townsville thrashing later that year as well, which I'm not going to name the score for because why would I?
It was 70-something.
2024, he refereed one game for us. And that was, ironically enough, our Easter Monday win last year. Kind of interesting how he didn't ref another game for us that season after giving us a win. He's now refereed 3 games for us this year, all 3 being losses. So the loss to the Knights in round 1, the loss to the Broncos in round 5, and the loss to the Eels in round 7. So in 8 games, we have a 1-7 record with this guy.
What about if he's in the bunker like this week?
That would be something interesting to find out, but I don't know that stat exists anywhere in anything.
Oh, come on, Aaron. That's just not good enough, mate.
Your performance tonight as Riff has sent you $10 American from Miami, Florida. Thank you, Riff. He says as absolute fire tonight. Nice work. Speaking of which, that just about does it for another week. We're going to record we've got heaps of our Patreon crew here tonight, so please do join us at the OG on Sunday evening as well. We're going to have 3 OG sessions in the space of 8 days. So we'll be here. We're here tonight. We're here Sunday night, and we're here next Wednesday night as well.
Preview Magic round,
which would be good. Magic. You can dress up as a magician.
What a little period.
You can be a mathematician as.
What a little period of the season this is, by the way.
Yeah.
Easter round into Anzac round into Magic round.
We
got the nod of approval from the peanut gallery, just not from the co-hosts.
I'll test you on this as how do you calculate when Easter is?
I think it's to do with the lunar cycle or something like that. I don't know the details.
It's the first full moon after the March equinox, first Sunday after the first full moon after the March equinox, and for the Gregorian calendar, the Julian calendar, which is Orthodox, is based on 12 days before. So the full moon falls less than 12 days before Easter. The Orthodox calendar will fall on the same weekend.
And the March equinox, the autumnal equinox, is like the 22nd of March or something, isn't it?
Does that help our for and against?
I don't know. It's a full moon. Easter's always after a full moon, so maybe. All right, let's record our Patreon, patreon.com/WestsLife, as Rob said. Very heated, very passionate. But
you're leaving the good stuff for the bonus episode, aren't you? I can't believe you didn't talk about Galvin tonight.
Didn't I?
Not one thing. We did not talk about I did all my homework for nothing. That's right. We'll do it in the bonus episode.
All right.
There is a fair bit of Galvin in the rants, I think. So there's also been a couple of conversations, which is why Josh has the slow mode on to avoid that. But the conversations just happen a little slower than normal.
I totally missed over news.
Riff said, "Can you read my palm?" Does it mean read your palm? Does it mean psalm? Does it mean PS?
No, I think he literally means palm because you're talking about lunar cycles and mumbo jumbo of that nature.
Well, he lives in Miami, Florida. There's lots of palm trees there.
They got Palm Springs there, don't they?
Palm Springs is California.
Is it?
I think.
They don't have
Isn't
a
there
palm thing?
Palm Springs, Miami?
Yeah, LA, yeah. F the Lakers.
They've got like a million Springfields up there, don't they? Which is why The Simpsons is so ambiguous.
The Simpsons is Springfield, Oregon.
I don't think that's ever been confirmed.
I think we'll talk about that off air. That's a Patreon. That's the Patreon questions. It's at the end of the show. Let's start talking crap. Let's talk some crap with our beloved Patreons here. Everyone else, thank you for joining us tonight for another episode of the West. Oh, there is a Palm Springs in Florida. Okay, I stand corrected. Apparently, there's probably a few Palm Springs, but apologies, Roberto. But
my favorite is Hell in Michigan.
Hell in Michigan.
There's literally a suburb or a town called Hell in Michigan.
I one day I got bored one day and just looked up these random funny place names list in.
That's where we're going to get relocated.
Like one from each state.
Well, my family's from Rudy Hill, so I can't really talk. But all right, guys. As always, go the Tigers.
Go the Tigers.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the West Tigers Life podcast. You can join us every Wednesday night live at 8:30 p.m. from the Orange Grove Hotel. A big thank you to Orange Grove Hotel for their support, as well as iChoice Home Loans. If you want to hear more from the West Tigers Life podcast, go to westtigers.com.au. That'll be our link tree, and you'll find links to all our social media, and you can sign up at our Patreon at patreon.com/WestLife. Join us next time on West Tigers Life.